What's going on, guys? Coach D back again. I realized after posting the offensive video, it might be more beneficial for me to tell you guys, how many misses and makes, we're going to be getting before the play starts so that you guys are aware. That might be a little bit more helpful. But you guys let me know in the comments anything that you guys would like to see. But coming in, starting this defensive video for the Clippers in the third quarter where we lost the game, I was very disappointed overall with the effort, especially as we're going to see in transition. Especially with our age, guys, we're not going to win a lot of games if we don't, especially on the road, match the energy of the home team. Like, we're just not focusing and not hustling and losing the game that way. That's very disappointing. The first 10 possessions that the Warriors are going to have in the third quarter, they're going to score on 6 out of 10 of those. That is not great. I would say 5 is pretty good. Anything below 5 is pretty good. A 6 is not good, but it's not like super bad either. As long as you're scoring 5 out of your 10 times or 6, then you should be fine. You might even be in the lead depending on if you're making threes or not. So let's go ahead and dive in and see exactly what happened here. First offensive possession for the Warriors is going to be a make. Now, Ty Lue has decided for this game, at least in the third quarter from what I saw, he was going to have Zubac guard Jonathan Kuminga. I thought this was really smart. Overall, I would say it worked out really, really well. What this does, it keeps Zoo out of all the screen and roll actions with Stephen Curry. Now, the idea behind that is that you would be able to have a bunch of switchable defenders in the actions and screens with Stephen Curry. However, on this play, as you're going to see, DJJ, I don't know if it's not communicated to him or maybe we don't understand the concept, but DJJ doesn't switch. So because DJJ is not going to end up switching here on these double screens coming from Quentin Post and Draymond, he's not going to switch. He's going to chase all the way through. What that does is it leads to a double team on Steph Curry. He recognizes it immediately, and it leaves Quentin Post wide open for this three. All right, we got the second offensive possession for the Warriors here. This is going to be a miss. Clippers get a stop. They're going to go Jimmy Butler ISO against Kawhi Leonard. Zoo does a really good job here of just showing presence, showing, I got Kawhi's back. That's going to leave Quentin Post wide open for this midi, but he's going to miss, and that's a great shot. If you're the Clippers team, Quentin Post taking middies. Third offensive possession for the Warriors is going to be a make. This is going to come off of a James Harden miss. And this is absolutely horrible, diabolical defense and effort from Derrick Jones Jr. and Zoo to an extent. Steph gets his ball. He's just pushing the pace and just moving faster than DJ. He's just going to go right around DJ and right around Zoo and lay the ball up coast to coast. That can't happen. Fourth offensive possession for the Warriors. This is going to be another make by Steph. This is coming off of a Zoo made shot. Steph is going to push in transition. You're going to have Derrick Jones Jr. guarding Stephen Curry. James Harden is going to be guarding Draymond. Now, the problem with this is that notice James Harden is nowhere close to Draymond, just standing like he's at a party, standing by the punch. And Draymond is going to set a screen because, of course, that's what he does. Steph's going to come over. And James is just watching him drive into the lane without switching. So Steph's going to get another easy layup. What is this defense? Fifth possession, this is going to be another make here. We're going to have double screens for Stephen Curry. We want to notice James Harden is way too far off of Draymond Green. Kawhi Leonard is standing a little too far off Quentin Post here. So when Steph's coming around these screens, he's not looking at anybody. Derrick Jones Jr. is going to get called for the foul. Now, DJ said that this was a moving screen by Draymond Green. I would tend to agree, but everybody says that in the NBA that the Warriors do this every game and it never gets called. I would say that Draymond is going to slide into DJ here. He's not set. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. That's a slide to me. But doesn't get called. Steph gets 3 free throws, and of course he's going to make it. First 5 possession for the Warriors of the third quarter. They scored on 4 out of 5 of them. The Clippers for this 6th one are finally going to get a stop. We are going to see Stephen Curry here. He's going to set a down screen here for Quentin Post to probably take that 3. He decides not to. He dribble drives. Zoo has to step up to prevent the layup or the dunk. And then Zoo, we're going to have to give you a gold star on this one, has enough athleticism and just defensive awareness to turn around and make this great block on Draymond Green and get the board. Good stuff, Zoo. Seventh offensive possession here for the Warriors. This is going to be a Jimmy Butler make. I want you to notice right now where everybody is standing. Jimmy Butler is in second to last place, but notice that he just puts in so much effort and runs so hard during this transition period that he's able to beat everybody up the floor, even Kawhi, and dunk the ball. Like, that is just very poor effort and energy from the Clippers. You can't allow people to just do that. We're going to come in here. This is going to be the Warriors' eighth possession. This is going to come off of the horrible Zoo turnover here. But notice the energy and effort that Kawhi Leonard and DJ are going to have in transition this time and what it leads to. Horrible turnover. But notice how hard and how fast DJ got his head down almost. How hard him and Kawhi are running to get back. And what does it lead to? We get a turnover. Good job. All right, this is going to be the Warriors' ninth possession here. This is going to be a make here by Jonathan Kuminga. Like I told you guys before, Ty Lue has been having Ivica Zubac guard Jonathan Kuminga. I thought it was a very smart defensive strategy, and I would say it worked for the majority of the game. However, in transition, especially if Zoo's not going to be focused, it's not going to work, and it didn't work here. Notice Zoo is next to Jonathan Kuminga. He's running with him, but I think he forgot he was guarding him or what. And Jonathan Kuminga's just going to go right by him. Great no-look pass from Steph Curry. Warriors up 3. 10th offensive possession here for the Warriors. It's going to be a miss. Clippers get a stop. And again, having Zoo guard Jonathan Kuminga, this is why it's smart and it works, because Jonathan Kuminga is not a big. So when they try to run pick and roll against Zoo and Jonathan Kuminga, it's just to try to get Zoo into action. It's just not going to work because Jonathan Kuminga can't make this shot. That was horrible. Great stop for the Clippers. Good job. That's going to conclude the Warriors' first 10 possessions. The Warriors scored on 6 out of those 10, like we said. That's not great. That's not the end of the world either. But I'd say the most annoying thing about it is that the points that the Clippers were giving up, 4 of the first 10 possessions just came from horrible transition defense, just not focusing, just not running with effort, just not being locked in. And that is very frustrating, especially from a team, like we said, guys, if we're going to be this old, we definitely can't come out and not be focused, be making rookie mistakes, not focused, not trying. What are we doing? For these next 5 possessions for the Warriors, they're going to make 2 shots. They're going to miss 3, so 2 of 5 here for this next 11 to 15. For this 11th one, we played great defense the majority of this whole doggone possession. But Paz is going to get the switch on to Batum here with the screen. And you probably want to tell Batum, hey, Paz, that 3 is about the only thing he can really do. So probably take away the 3. But instead, Batum backs up just a little bit. Paz hit the sidestep, and it's a rainbow in his face. 12th offensive possession here for the Warriors. Stephen Curry, this is going to be a miss. Clippers get another stop. Stephen Curry sees Nicholas Batum guarding him in transition and thought it was going to be the Olympics. And Stephen Curry is going to miss this shot. 13th offensive possession here for the Warriors. This is going to be a miss. Again, why I've been giving Ty Lue credit in the video is because having Zoo guard Jonathan Kuminga when Stephen Curry wants to try to get Zoo in pick and roll and get the action, you can easily trap him because Jonathan Kuminga as a big, what is he supposed to do with that pass? When he rolls to the basket and Steph hits him in the drop coverage, what's Jonathan Kuminga supposed to do right there? He's going to dunk over Zoo? I don't think so. So the whole play gets blown up. He throws it back out to Moses Moody. Moses Moody takes a contested mid-range shot, and that's a miss. And that's great, excellent defense and scheme from the Clippers. That's exactly what you want the Warriors to do, shoot Moses Moody middies on offense. 14th offensive possession for the Warriors. Believe it or not, the Clippers are actually going to get a stop here. Stephen Curry is going to get the steal on James Harden here. Very impressive. But look how hard James gets back In transition, not the best pass, but good job, James, getting back in transition. Al Horford misses the three. Kawhi comes down with the board. Great hustle by everybody getting back. If we notice, Chris Paul and Chris Dunn have subbed into the game here. This is going to be the Warriors' 15th offensive possession. This is going to be another make. If you know me, if you watch this channel, you know the thing that I hate the most in this life is Zubac drop coverage. Chris Dunn is in the game. The whole point of that is so he can play defense, but we just let Jimmy Butler screen him off, which just doesn't make any sense. Then Zoo's going to be in drop coverage, and Jimmy Butler is going to say, thank you. You cannot play drop coverage against star players. Warriors 16th offensive possession. This is going to be another make in transition by Stephen Curry off of the Zoo DJJ turnover. And we're in transition. Look how far Chris Dunn and Chris Paul are back. And Steph Curry is going to end up going right around Chris Paul and laying this ball up. You know, Chris, maybe it's because Steph can shoot that three, but man, at 40 years old, I get it, but man, we're going to have to be better. We just can't let this happen. Warriors 17th offensive possession. This is going to be a miss off the DJJ missed three. Pods is in transition, and for whatever reason, Zoo decides that he's going to be the person to stop ball, and Pods is looking around like, is Zoo really guarding me? And he shoots the three, but he misses it. Now, we need to notice that Kawhi Leonard has checked out of the game. We are down 7 points. We have 2 minutes and 15 seconds to go. And what transpires with the Clippers B team out here, a full bench lineup with Chris Dunn, Chris Paul, John Collins, Brook Lopez, and Derrick Jones Jr. What transpires here loses us, in my opinion, is the crucial thing that lost us this game. We're only down 7. That's not impossible. We can still do this. But this next 2 minutes and 15 seconds, this end of the game, this is going to come off of a Chris Dunn turnover. Chris Paul, this is the Warriors' 18th possession here. Chris Paul is going to end up on Jimmy Butler in transition. Jimmy Butler, the worst thing you can do to a professional basketball player is guard them with somebody that they do not believe is tall enough to block their shot. Because then it's just practice. And this was just a practice 3 for Jimmy Butler. And they pushed the lead. 19th offensive possession here for the Warriors. They're going to end up making this one too, even though we played pretty good defense the whole time. We got Jimmy. He's going to try to foul bait Chris Dunn here. Chris does a really good job being disciplined, and it leads to Al Horford throwing up this nonsense. Unfortunately, here's going to come Jimmy. Nobody boxed out, and he's going to dive in and get the putback. Now, do we want to blame John for that? Maybe we box out, maybe we jump, but at the end of the day, Ty Lue put out this lineup where it's the Clippers B team, all the Clippers role players going against the Warriors role players plus Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler just made a 3. Jimmy Butler just got a putback. Like, they're going to win those minutes against this unit. This unit without James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, they suck. 20th possession. This is going to be another make for the Warriors. Again, what have we been talking about? Transition defense, effort, attention to detail, focus, notice. Pods is going to get the ball. Derrick Jones Jr., Pods is your man. That's who you're guarding. You're jogging, he's running, and what does that lead to? It leads to John Collins picking up your man, you not guarding anybody, and what is that going to lead to? A Moses Moody wide open 3. So that's going to conclude the second set of the Warriors' next 10 possessions. They scored on 6 out of their next 10 possessions, 11-20. And the key thing to notice is, though, as soon as CP3 and Chris Dunn checked into the game, and then Kawhi Leonard subbed off not too long after that, and the rest of the bench unit came in, the B team all subbed in, the Warriors are going to score on 6 out of their next 7 possessions once that happens. Once CP3 and Dunn sub into the game in the third quarter. That is horrific defense. The Warriors almost scored every single time once the Clippers bench players got into the game, and that's unacceptable. And for the Warriors, they're not done. Just right before they get out of here in the third quarter, they want to score again. We got John Collins guarding Jimmy Butler. He's going to screen because, again, if you have an old guard, just like Bogey last year in the playoffs, if you have an older guard on the court, more than likely the other team, especially if they're staggering the star, they're going to attack that guard. We can't just switch Chris Paul onto Jimmy Butler. I don't understand the logic behind that, but we did it anyway. Then, because of that, John Collins helps off of pods to help Chris Paul with Jimmy Butler leading the pods, pumping John Collins. He jumps. So, obviously, everybody saw that. We're going to have to help. And Chris Paul, man, just gets his feet stuck in sand. Paul just goes right around him. Should have been an and one because he pushed him. And that is going to conclude us blowing when Kawhi Leonard got off the floor. It was 61-68. 7 points. Again, you can survive a 7-point deficit going into the fourth quarter. What you cannot survive is a 15-point deficit in 2 minutes from this Clippers B team. This unit with Chris Paul and Chris Dunn as the engine or the playmakers for that unit, this has got to stop. It can never happen again. It's terrible. Offensively, they're even worse than what you guys seen defensively. It just can never happen again. The takeaways that we have for the Clippers coming out of this defensive film study in the third quarter is, number one, the transition defense, the focus, and the effort, it just has to be better. I don't know what these guys don't understand. You guys are old. So if you're not going to work harder or put in more effort than the teams that are younger than you and better than you in some stances are going to do, especially in transition defense, you guys are not going to win a lot of games. The effort and focus in transition was awful. And it just has to be fixed. This is not acceptable. I don't know who needs to talk to these guys, but this effort for the Warriors game tonight, especially in transition, was awful. Number two, the energy effort. At home, the Clippers play so much harder than they do on the road. On the road, what they need to understand is the other team is already going to come in playing with energy because they're at home. So if you don't come in with even more energy than them, how do you expect to win the game? Like, we have to have much better effort and just desire. What's really disappointing and really hurt me the most watching this film is that as much as, Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler are great players and they definitely beat the Clippers tonight, it was also just the Clippers themselves beating themselves. What was this effort in transition tonight? What was the focus? Where was the desire to want to win this game? A lot of jogging, a lot of lollygagging, a lot of just being out there ball watching. And that's just very disappointing, man. And last thing, number three, we need to hide CP3 on defense. When he's in the game and the other team is trying to find him and get him in actions and stuff like that, very similarly to what we did with Zoo, with Kuminga, we wanted to keep Stephen Curry away from Zoo. We need to keep CP3 away from Jimmy Butler or whoever is going to be the primary scorer for the other team as best as we can, because CP3 at his age, he just can't do it at 40 years old. This looked horrible today or during this game. And CP3, you're going to have to put in better effort, man. I know it's hard. I know you're 40, but you're going to have to, we can't just be reaching and swiping. We got to move our feet. We're going to have to be a little bit better. But overall, like I said, I don't give the Clippers a good grade for this. I'd give them a D- here in this third quarter, because like I said, you guys beat yourself. And if we have serious championship aspirations, we need to get serious and show a desire to want to win. Y'all make sure y'all like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys thought of the Clippers defensive performance. Let me know if you think they lost the game in the third quarter. And I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.